What's up, guys? It's Migs from Market Open. I'm doing my midday market recap a little late. Kind of went fishing, and but I didn't forget about you guys. Don't worry. So I'm gonna do this real fast. So my first trade ended up being M. I took it short right here. So as you can see, M was which is Macy's, by the way. All these retail stocks are so beaten down. They've been uh, they've just been on a downward spiral for quite a while now. So it gapped down on for 2140. It's not on earnings. I'm not really quite sure what the news were, but honestly, it's kind of irrelevant. It doesn't really matter what the news were. It's gapping down. That's all I really need to know. So as you can see on here, big red candle down, which actually was kind of surprising because Macy's is not really a big mover. Waited for the pull up right here. Was going to be my stop, and then so I noticed that it was just kind of it was bouncing off of here. So right here, 2022 was going to be my short entry. I jumped the gun with 1,000 shares right here. So usually I wait for the pull up, and then I'll wait for somewhere to find sort of support a little bit, and then I'll wait for that to break. So usually I should have gotten in right here at 2021, but as you can see on here, it bounced and it just headed higher. So I got filled right here at 2022, and then it just came up. It flushed down real fast, and at that moment, I thought I was okay. I'm fine. And so then what I ended up doing is I put my stop right over this candle right here, and as you can see, I got kicked out at 2031 with 1,000 shares. Let's see here. The next trade was MAT. So I started my trading day immediately down. Now let's see here. Next one, I was long on MAT, gapping up on earnings. Actually, wait, no, I take that back. I was gapping down on earnings. These are just overreactions. So it was gapping down for 15. Not a considerable drop, but it's a little bit, or it's enough for a $15 stock. Let's see here. So I went short on MAT, 1,000 shares right at 13. Here we go, right around here. So right under 13. As you can see here, it came up. It got rejected at 13. That was my plan. I was waiting for an over and under on 13. So as you can see on here, all this pre-market data right here, you can see it climbed up and it just didn't want to drop at 13. So I marked it as noted it as a significant level. So I was looking for an over under on $13. And when I say over and under, I mean I want it to pull up and over 13, and then I'll short it once it breaks down the whole number. So that's what I ended up doing. So as you can see right there, so it opened up. Actually, it opened up. It flashed up to 13. It got stopped, flushed down. I waited for the pullback, stuck with the plan. Right, should have gotten in right here. So at 9:46. Oh, actually, I didn't. 9:45, 46, right here. So, yep, still stuck with the plan, although I could have done it here as well. But 13 over and under, as you can see here, it's just not holding 13 at all. So it pulled up and it flushed down under 13. I sold right at 1287 and ended up $160. Yeah, so $160 gain on that. So then Macy's, I was down probably somewhere around, so yeah, I was down $90, and then MAT ended up making 160. So for some reason, the first couple of trades, or the first trade that I've been taking, have not been good. I'm not really sure if it's just my emotions or it's just what's going on at the beginning of the day. It's just my trades are not starting out green. Maybe I should probably write that down and maybe wait a couple minutes before I take a trade. But regardless of that, something that should be noted, EXPE was something that I definitely missed at the very beginning. I know a lot of the other guys were calling out some trades on EXP, which I believe is Expedia. It flushed down a lot, actually. So as you can see, it gapped down from 147 and opened up this morning. Let's see here, right at 123. So considerably large down gap. So then, let's see here. I shorted it at 120 at 10:05. So actually, I probably did it on the 5-minute chart here. That's 10:05. Oh, actually, you know what? This was my first loss on EXP. So it flushed down. I know a lot of the guys in the room actually ended up catching this flush. Unfortunately, I didn't. So I had to sit very disciplined on the sideline. When you watch something go from 124 all the way down 118, you get the biggest case of FOMO. But I had to basically just sit on my hands and not take the trade. So I noted that this it kept bouncing off this 120 level. So what I ended up doing is I jumped the gun once again, right at 120. Fortunately, I only shorted 100 and let's see, what is this? 150. Then I shorted another 100. Yeah. So I got out at 120.65. So I got in right at 120 instead of waiting for it to break. A lot of the time, especially when a stock is this volatile, you want to get in right at the whole number instead of waiting for it to break down. Because if it breaks down, this can happen. So it could just flush down and you get a really bad fill, or you might not even get filled at all. So I ended up getting it right at the whole number. As you can see, it bounced right off the 120 and it just didn't look back. So it came up to 173. Actually, you know what? I'll go ahead and cover the other trade I took on EXPE. So what I did is I actually ended up setting a alert for when it got close to 120 again. And I stuck with the same thing I wanted to do before. I saw it bounce, and as soon as it broke the 120, I saw this 9 kind of curling down. It's just, it gives me affirmation that the stock is headed downwards. So I ended up shorting 200 shares right here. Ended up shorting 200 shares of EXPE. As you can see, it flushed down immediately. I covered 100 shares at 118.98. Covered another 50 at 118.82, and then the last 50 right at 120. I think it came back up. So yeah, it kicked me out right here. Because once you take money from the market, do not give that money back. Put it in your pocket. And then I put it basically at break even. All right, so the next trade I took was on COG. I ended up going long at 26.19 at the VWAP bounce, so right about here. And so I ended up going long there, and I ended up putting my stop at 26.08. So 26.08, I should have gotten kicked out of all my shares, but what I think happened was it only kicked me out of 100, and I actually ended up keeping, right, let's see here, it kicked out at 11.07. So, oh, over here, there it is. Okay, so I actually ended up putting my stop at 26.08. It should have kicked me out of all of them, which was, my stop was actually 1 cent below VWAP. So it actually should have kicked me out of all of them, but I made a mistake and only wrote 100 shares instead of all 500, which is good because I didn't notice, and what it did, it just kept bouncing. So as you can see on here, it just kept actually going back up. And I actually ended up getting rid of all 400 shares at 26.43. So that was a very good mistake to make. Usually I get screwed on the other sides, and I actually ended up making $85 on that. But looking back on it now, as you can see, COG actually just kept making higher lows and higher highs. So if you zoom out here, it actually ended up making it all the way to 27, which long term was actually my target, but I was thinking I was probably being a little too greedy. I mean, I saw the momentum. There were a lot of buyers. I mean, the earnings don't really look that great, but 27 was a realistic target for me. But once I thought I was just being greedy, I just went ahead and took the profits. Something that I tell one of my buddies that I trade with all the time is I tell him, well, you can't go broke taking profits. which is 100% true, because if you think that you're being greedy, a lot of the times it goes against you and it leaves this really sour taste in your mouth. So when I notice that I'm being greedy, I start taking profits. It might not be a good habit, or actually could end up being a good habit. In this instance, obviously, it wasn't, because I could have made a lot more money, but I really wanted to go fishing, so priorities, whatever. But at least I ended up making $85 and ended up the day green. It's only $158, but it's better than losing any money. All right, guys, thanks for watching this market recap. If you guys have any questions, make sure to leave them down in the comment section below. Also, make sure to like and subscribe this video, and look out for any new content coming out. All right, guys, I'll talk to you later.